Alright, what's going on, friends? So I'm here with some Super Nintendo pickups. We're going to make this quick here. So let's see what we got this time around. Alright, the first game we got is Incantation. And that's by Titus. A few Titus games out there. A little wore out on the top. You can still kind of see the writing on there, though. This is a really interesting platformer. One thing I like about this platformer is the speed at which you move. It's very fast paced, a lot of jumping around. There is quite a bit of platforming. You could almost call it puzzle solving, but there's a lot of platforming, puzzle solving in this game to get through the levels. There's a couple items you have to find. Definitely worth picking up, and I'm willing to bet this one's going to go up in price soon. It already is. I mean, this one I've seen reaching $60 values, so good one to pick up. Next game I got is, and I hope I didn't repeat any of these from last time, but I got Stone Protectors, and that's by Kemco. This was a game that was kind of cashing in on the big troll craze in the 90s. I actually beat this game this morning with one of the characters. I like this game a lot. Each character, there's 5 different characters to choose from. Each has special moves, some that you learn or are told about as you progress through the levels. And really fun game. Interesting characters, a lot of items to pick up, good score, high score mode. And one thing I really like about this game that it has a lot of many games, or most games don't have, it's got a one-player and computer mode where you can actually play as one player, and then you can select one of the other 4 players as the computer to play with you, and they'll run through their lives just like normal, and if they game over, then they're done. I thought that was really interesting. I recommend that game, Stone Protectors, and I think it's around 20 bucks or so. Alright, what do we get next? Next one is Sonic Blast Man Part 2. I do not have the first one. I picked up this one here. I really like the packaging. You got the gold in label there. This one had a little bit of rental writing on the back. Nothing too dramatic though. This here is also a really interesting beat 'em up fighting game. You got 3 characters to choose from. You got your average, you got your fast person, you got your average person, and then you have your your heavy person. What can I say about this? Good amount of moves. There's just something about this game. I think it's the enemies. There's just the regular level and stage enemies get a little repetitive. They do change throughout the levels, but it's one main enemy that just kind of evolves. Now the bosses in this are really interesting, and to me they felt kind of like oversized Mega Man bosses to an extent. Some of their appearances and designs, I thought that was really cool. So that's Sonic Blast Man Part 2. So this is a game I had on the background. I actually picked this up quite a while ago, but I never showed it. And I finally got a copy of Earthbound, or another copy. I haven't really played this game thoroughly since it came out, so 20 years. I'm having a blast replaying this game, and it's just amazing how many things happened in this game that happened in my life when I started growing up and left home for the first time. So yeah. Okay, and last but not least, I picked this up. I got a great deal on this game. I'm finally glad to add it to the collection. Got this, I'd say about $60 to $100 less than what it's going for on average, and that's Aero Fighters for the Super Nintendo. One of the more expensive games. Really don't want to say the price, but it's up there with Hagane, a little bit above Hagane. This is in excellent condition, just excellent condition cart. There's just a tiny little chip right here. But other than that, I mean, everything's perfect. Solid cart. Pretty fun game, interesting game. A tad bland in my opinion. It's got an interesting concept, whichever pilot you pick, you may start off in a different stage or level. So that's pretty cool, but I pretty much bought that for a collector's aspect. And I'm hoping for this to go up in price. Either way, I could resell it and probably, make a couple bucks, but I plan on holding on to this one for a while. One thing I'm doing with my Super Nintendo collecting is I'm working from the high price down to avoid missing what I missed with the regular NES, and having to go back and rebuy all those games that are 60 to 80 bucks. So yeah, that's it for Super Nintendo. There's one NES game I picked up, and that is Menace Beach. I do not have Sunday Funday yet, but I did pick up Menace Beach, and either this or Sunday Funday, I believe it was this one. Actually, no, it was Sunday Funday. Was the last. Sunday Funday was the last game made for the Nintendo in 1995, or 94, 95. But it was basically after Menace Beach. And this is an interesting game, interesting concept. Of course, it is a Color Dreams game, but you're on a skateboard, and you know you're trying to save your girlfriend. And throughout the game, every level, she's tied up and she's losing a little bit of clothing each time, kind of cursing you out, saying her clothes are deteriorating, basically. But one thing interesting about this is you'll see the hands. These hands are really detailed. Now, one thing I remember growing up with watching shows like The Simpsons was they always told you hands were hard to draw, and that's why a lot of cartoons have 3 fingers. Well, it looks like somebody started drawing this picture from the hands first, and then drew everything else, because the hands are extremely detailed and everything else is kind of blah. But, interesting game. Well, that's it for now, and I'll be back soon with more magazine pickups. Got a big pile of GamePro magazines, and got some real cool things with these magazines for a very low price. So stay tuned. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.